To the Paul Farrington show. Just, I cannot believe the football game that I just watched. I mean, that was unbelievable. I was changing the thumbnail to Malik Willis save season. That's what it said. Malik save season for the Packers. Had the title set. I mean, let me see if I have. I think the title that I had set was like Malik save season. Packers dominate Chicago. Take control of NFC North. And it was set. I was about to hit publish. I was just watching the onside kick, and I was thinking to myself, there's no way on earth that this could possibly happen, right? I mean, I actually I actually feel terrible for the Packers fans tonight, which I never thought I'd feel in my entire life. But from the past 2 weeks, the third quarter against Denver and this Bears game, unfathomable sadness if you're a Green Bay Packer fan. On the other side of things, just incredible joy, euphoria if you're a Bears fan. Because frankly, and Bears fans, I don't know if you're going to admit it or not, you had no business winning that game. The Packers kicked your ass that football game. And I was coming on here ready to say, Packer fans, you packed it up last week. No Micah, no problem. No Jordan Love, no problem. That's the one guy we said you don't need. And Malik Willis comes in, looks like that. We'll get to it in a second. They outgained Chicago, I guess, before the final drive. Time of possession, dominate. And somehow, some way, the Bears, which they've been doing all year long, I mean, we got to give them credit. Like, you got to give them credit. They've been a team that fights and fights and fights. But ultimately, it comes down to Romeo Doubs. I mean, Romeo Doubs has to catch that onside kick. It bounces up picture perfect into his arms. I saw some people again upset saying fire Rich Bisaccia. It's not Rich Bisaccia's fault there. Yeah, there's been special teams problems in Green Bay. Doubs has to catch that football. Catch the football, game's over. The Bears had one of the most inexcusable clock management gaffes with the field goal, running the clock down to the 2-minute warning of the season. After I said they had the week 1 gaff against the Vikings, they do it again, and I guess sometimes fortune's just on your side. You'd rather be lucky than good. And Chicago, after getting the onside kick, you have to give them credit, right? They go right down the field, and they tie the game up on 4th down. I thought when that play started and Caleb found the rookie, can't even remember his name, in the back of the end zone, it looked like a busted play. I actually thought Caleb was throwing the football away, but scores a touchdown. They get the stop. Amazingly, Green Bay needs 2 yards in overtime, and they can't get. They need a yard on 2 plays in overtime. Chicago gets the stop. There's the muff snap, and then Caleb puts it on the money. And DJ Moore, who's been quiet all season, the entire season, people have been asking, "Where's DJ Moore?" Comes up with just an unbelievable touchdown catch. Look, there's really no way of sugarcoating this here. The loser of this game was in a lot of trouble. The Bears are going to win the NFC North. That's where we're at right now. The Bears are going to win the NFC North pretty much if they beat San Francisco. I mean, Detroit, Lions fans can sell, but Lions fans have a shot now to win the North. It's I cannot believe what's happening here. And it's just the game that, if you're a Green Bay fan, let's go to Green Bay, and then we'll get to Chicago. This entire game, I'm watching it, and I'm like, holy crap, I've been so wrong about Malik Willis. Every time, and I don't think I had been wrong in my analysis of Malik, but what everyone else was saying, all the Packers fans who were excited about him, seems to be right. I mean, it was just, he was sensational tonight. And I was texting my friends, a couple of my buddies were actually at the game, Packers and Bears fans, and the crowd, oh my gosh, the Chicago crowd was crazy tonight. They were just begging for something to get them going. The Bears gave them nothing, and they were great. But my friends were at the game, and I was telling them Malik can't throw. Like, Malik Willis cannot throw the football. He's a great runner. Sometimes runs a little loose with the football, but when it comes down to it, I don't think Matt LaFleur trusts him to throw the football. And I got shut up tonight. Sometimes when you do this, you get just slapped in the face and you're completely wrong. Malik Willis was awesome. And Ziggy's been a big Malik guy. We got in the debate about backup quarterbacks who could be looking for a starting job next year, or at least given a real opportunity as starting job. Now you're wondering, I was actually sitting back thinking, if Love misses the Baltimore game and Malik plays this well again, you have to put Jordan in, right? But man, he looked good. That wind was whipping around, and Willis just throwing darts, and he's running all over the place, extending plays, picking up first downs with his legs that just didn't seem possible. I was like, who the hell is this guy? I mean, this guy, he's unbelievable. So in that sense, you're watching that as a Packer fan, and you're going, oh my God, like we're back in this thing. You know, it doesn't matter who we have. It was such a gutsy performance from Green Bay the entire night. And to have it, the Bears have the ball, 2.5 minutes left. They're kicking the field goal. It's like, all right, just, milk this thing away. They screw up the field goal. If they even get the ball back, because Green Bay had been running well, you're going to see them get the ball with a minute left, maybe. I mean, they're not going down the field. It's been a magical season, but I thought the Packers were back. And there's still a sense of, if Green Bay gets in, they're still a really difficult team to play, and they're going to be a tough team for anyone. But now you're looking at, I mean, man, they're probably in all likelihood going to be going back to Chicago. I mean, that'll be, geez. Wow, Bears, Packers 3 in Chicago, because the Bears will probably be the 2 seed now. And Green Bay, I mean, they have to win this Baltimore game. Yeah, their playoff lives are in danger right now. They're a half game up on Detroit. If they win this one, I think you feel pretty good as a Packer fan going into Minnesota. But this was a devastating loss. The past 2 weeks, if you're a Packer fan, it's just not fathomable what's happened here. You were a Super Bowl team, and I don't blame everyone for being upset here. Like, I understand how important the Packers are to our channel. I'm just trying to be honest. I think all the Packers fans know too. This was a devastating night to be a Green Bay Packer fan. And it's really been a devastating week, because after everything you go through this entire week, you come out and you play like that against a rival. I mean, you shut them down, and it all falls apart on you hate to pin on one guy, but it's on Romeo Doubs there. I mean, that is just, it's insane. There's no, all I can say to Packers fans is, pack it up for a week here. Take some deep breaths. Enjoy Christmas with your family, or Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate, the off time. And now you have to be back for the Ravens. The team's still very good. Clearly, the team's still very good. And I think he actually could go into Chicago and beat him again if you play in the playoffs. But man, that hurts. That really hurts, especially because you had a chance to pretty much bury this team early. I mean, how many plays did they run inside the 5-yard line where they just couldn't punch the ball in the end zone? It was just... No, I'm not. I see some people are saying, here goes Paul trying to get our hopes up for next week. I still think the Packers can win a playoff game, but no, this was crushing. Like, this was a brutal, brutal loss. And then on the other side, if you're a Bears fan, you're just... I don't know what you're thinking tonight. Like, that is one of the best nights of Chicago football ever. Seriously, ever in the history of Chicago football. Like, Chicago would be a fun place to be tonight. Going out to the bars, celebrating that win, because it's one that in the back of your mind you had no business winning, but also the way you won and the way you've been all season in having these amazing, improbable comeback wins. It's a great character. It's a great culture in Chicago right now. They don't stop fighting. And I understand if any Packer fan here is going like, Dobbs dropped the ball. What? Like that? They got lucky. They did. But after that, they drove down the field and scored. I mean, they got the stop on the 3rd and 1 in overtime before Green Bay muffed the punt. Caleb dropped that in the bucket to DJ Moore. I don't think the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. I really don't. But it's on the table. I mean, it's on the table for them to get to the NFC Championship game. They're going to have 2 games at home to get there. At least that's what it looks like right now. If they can take care of business in one of their final 2 games. And it's amazing, because I actually think Detroit might win the division now. If I'm thinking about this series, I think Chicago will probably lose against the 49ers. And now if the Lions win this week, we're talking about the Lions being able to backdoor, right? If Green Bay were to lose one of their next, I mean, it's just crazy. I was not prepared to come on here and talk positively about the Bears. So I'm trying to find some things for Bears fans to latch onto. And I really think what you have to turn to is what they've built there. That's the culture. And frankly, it's just getting away with one tonight. That was unbelievable. I thought Monangai, had a couple big runs there late. Caleb was not good today, but he made a couple big plays when it mattered, and that was all you needed in the end. Man, that was crazy. Why do you think the 49ers will beat Chicago? 49ers are playing good football right now. It's on the road. That's a tough place to play. I can see Chicago winning. I'm not like writing this off as a Chicago loss here. But the Bears were in this one without Odunze. We talked about the Packers injuries. The Bears didn't have Odunze. They didn't have Luther Burden. We thought they might struggle offensively, and they did. But man, that kid who was Walker, right? To have that touchdown catch there at the end, just amazing. I'm really shocked. It's funny, a bunch of Packer fans are saying I feel like we won. I'm in shock and torture. It makes no sense. Let's see some of the super chats here. Sideless says the Packers might never win again. I don't know. It seems like there's something happened here. It seems like there's some deal with the devil going on, because the last 2 weeks have been, man, this is going to be this will be a coping show for Packers fans. Pure euphoria for Bears. From Elensky. I don't know if I'm drunk, but I feel good after this. Bears are so bad. We were the better team without our QB and Micah. We are going to the Super Bowl, LOL. That's the strange thing about this, right, guys? It's that if you're a Packer fan, you sit back, you think you won that football game. There are probably Packers fans who think they won this game tonight. They probably turned the TV off when the Bears had the ball with 3 minutes left, and Caleb's overthrowing people. I bet there are Packer fans who turned off the TV, went to bed thinking, we're going to be the 2 seed. Super Bowl might be on again, somehow, with all the injuries. And I don't blame, Elensky here. You're an interesting character here, Elensky, because I actually kind of agree with your thought of not going to the Super Bowl, but you can still go and win a couple playoff games if you're Green Bay. You feel like you were the much better team. I think Green Bay looked better in this game against Chicago than they did the previous game. And it's just, you just get unlucky at the end and think that's really all it came down to. Demise, Nixon off my team soon. Thank you. Romeo went full Brandon Bostic. You never go full Brandon Bostic. Malik is better than JJ. Respect the leak. He was amazing. It's crazy. There's really not much you can say. I feel bad for Romeo Doubs because who knows if he hurts his wrist or not. I think he did. After you'd have a play like that, I can see him just being like, my damn wrist hurts. I'm coming out of this game. Jorge Martinez, the Bears beat Malik Willis and Emmanuel Wilson. LOL, first round exits. I have seen some funny Packer comments being like, congrats, you beat our backups. I get it. You're pissed off. You're a Packer fan, and you feel like, man, our backups went in there and should have beat Chicago, and they should have. You're totally right. Wiggly Joker, who's been a member for 11 months. Thank you. I work until midnight, and I saw the end of the game on break. Genuinely so heartbreaking. I'm telling myself it's just the game. This show helps the pain. Wiggly Joker. I got to get some shirts made for us. It's just a game. I always say it. That's when you know you're in football hell. When you're telling yourself, or people are telling you it's just the game, it means, okay, it's gotten so bad in my football world that the only way I can make myself feel better is to actually relate this to real pain and suffering. And realize how inconsequential it is in the big picture. You're like going on universal seismic proportions of problems here, and that's the way you're able to really cope with, all right, this football one's not that big. But as far as football problems go, this is Viking-esque. I guess I'm seeing just a little sliver of Packer pain that they talk about that I always tell everyone to just, get over it. Because that was brutal. Elensky, again, we showed so much heart. I can't feel sad. We chilling. Packers they showed a lot of heart. I totally agree with you. I thought they were completely gutsy. Love goes. How many teams do you know, guys, who missing the guys the Packers have? And I'm trying in this show, by the way, just to be completely objective here. Put aside everything. Put aside the Packers fans who support the channel. Put aside my Viking fandom. Put aside, I have a couple of really good friends who are Bears fans who I was telling them we'll hype up Chicago. from the Green Bay perspective of the guys who were hurt, and then you lose your quarterback and you have that performance, feels like you should have won the game tonight. So you can be, at the very least, you can be proud of those guys. Skits Craven. Bears needed a miracle to beat Malik Willis. Well, that's because Malik Willis played out of his freaking mind. You got to give him credit. But yeah, they did need a miracle. Demise, Jordan is still 10 times better than Malik, Paul, Chill. I know. I'm not advocating. I've been the one person, it seems like, who would consistently just go, stop this conversation. It's nonsense. But you really can't ask for better backup play than you had this evening. Jorge Martinez again. I knew we'd lose as soon as we went to the half 6-0. That was the game the Bears wanted. Even if Love played, I don't know if we win. So it's not something I talked about too much off the top of the show, but I get what you're saying. I actually texted Andy Herman at halftime, and I said, this just has the feeling of one of those games where Packers are kicking ass, but they can't score a touchdown. And now the Bears are just one magical play away from taking the control of this game, from having the lead, or at the very least. And that's where, I mean, you look at the initial drives to start this game. Green Bay has a 9-play drive where they had the turnover on downs, right? That's matched by Chicago on their opening drive of the game. And then Green Bay's next 2 drives in the first half are 14 plays and 16 plays, 70, 91 yards, chewing up a total of 14 minutes off the clock. I mean, a whole quarter of the half. And they can only get field goals. I mean, that's what gets you in these massive games. Playoff games, games for 1 seeds. If you can't put the ball in the end zone, you're going to get got eventually. At some point, the other team's going to make a play where you're punched in the mouth. And they couldn't, they had a chance to bury Chicago early in this one. They really did. And they just couldn't get out of their own way. You know, then the Josh Jacobs fumble, they had the chance to go up 10 points. There's just so many things you can turn to tonight as a Packer fan. And I think in wake of the Micah injury, you just have this avalanche of heartbreak coming down on you. You're just like, what the hell else do we, like, come on. Like this, you know, how much more can we actually take here? Because, again, yeah, I get it. You should have won. Yes. Bears fans probably agree. And it just didn't bounce your way there at the end. Jake Adams. Or Adams says, how does Matt have a job with his pitiful leadership? I don't know, man. What do you want to say to Matt LaFleur? Dobbs dropped the freaking football. Like, how mad can you get at LaFleur? How mad can you get at Bisaccia? There are other things you can point to over the course of the season, but tonight they kicked ass and Dobbs dropped the football. And then Chicago went down the field and scored. I mean, you want to get mad at Halfley? I mean, the guys were on the field on defense and no huddle for 4 or 5 straight minutes. Dobbs dropped the football. Jorge Martinez again. Matt really has to go. I think I lost it for a second. Matt really has to go. He can't get this team hype. Yeah, I just disagree. Demise, why are we acting like the Packers couldn't go 2-0 and the Bears can't go 0-2? Relax. That's very true. If the Bears lose to San Francisco next week and the Packers are able to beat Baltimore, then wow. So then anybody can win, including the Lions. Who do the Lions play this? Who do the Lions have? So the Steelers. Oh, us, duh. So assuming the Lions beat the Steelers, if the Lions then beat the Vikings the following week, we could have a situation where a Bears win gives them the 2 seed. A Packers win and a Bears loss gives the Packers the 2 seed. And then a Lions win and a Packers loss gives the Lions, I think, probably the 3. You have to imagine, I guess Philly has moved up in that spot then. All right, get back to these questions here. T-Rex, is this literally what the Vikings fans feel like? Yeah, dude, this is it. I mean, this is pretty much it. This is really bad tonight. But, oh gosh, I mean, if we had lost last year to Detroit the way this happened tonight, I'm probably driving somewhere for like 6 hours and then just, turning around eventually, coming back with maybe no music on the way out. Probably turn on some sad song on the way back, listening to some Viking fan cry to try and, relate to it. This was as bad a loss as you could really have. It just is. Skits Craven, Soldier Field is not a scary place to play, LOL. I actually think what's funny is if you're the Bears are the 2 seed and the Packers wind up as a 7, I would pick the Packers to go in and win in that first round game. But man, I mean, Chicago, they seem to have magic on their side this year. CJ Wisner, if Vikes dagger Green Bay playoff hopes, I swear to God. That is being set up right now as a chance that JJ McCarthy can crush the Packers season. That is in play right now. K. Kuhn says, Bears played a super clean game, no dirty hits, and they made sure all the sideline heaters were working in freezing temperatures. Yeah, look, what's kind of makes this show a little difficult tonight is everything was written out to come out and be pro Green Bay and be anti-Chicago the whole year. Or not anti-Chicago the whole year, but just like, Bears are more of a wild card team than the 11-4 that they are now, or they would have been 10-5. They had 10 penalties for 105 yards. They did have some, roughing, like dirty hits on. I mean, they knocked Love out of the game. The heaters was weird. I don't know what's going on there, but they've just had this. They've had this magic on their side and the ability to make big plays when it matters. I'm talking more after the Dobbs fumble. They got the big they got the big 3rd and 1 stop and crazy. Let's see. From Devs, he said, "Hey Paul, has anybody else had any issues with On Track regarding merchandising being delivered?" I will double check on that. I'll talk to our merch guy and make sure it should be okay. I tried ordering something and got a shirt delivered. So let me email. Can you email the Paul Farrington Show at gmail.com and just to remind me, please. Macaulay Productions. We will beat them in the playoffs. Go Pack, go. Very possible. Demise. I need Rashawn Gary to lose 40 pounds and be fast again. He can't do that in 7 days, so I trust no one at edge. How many total pressures or how many QB hits, let's see, did the Packers end up with tonight? 4. And no sacks. I mean, I think Andy tweeted out Micah Parsons with a torn ACL may be our best edge rusher. And he might be right. T-Rev says, is it me or is Tom Brady a little biased to Caleb Williams? At least I went 4 for 4 on my college football playoff picks. I think Brady just tries to get hype over whatever. I think Brady ultimately, when he's making these calls, has been decent this year. But he definitely likes Caleb. I mean, he's fascinated at the very least by his escapability. And Caleb does have a lot of raw attributes that are impressive. And I can see a guy like Brady maybe getting a little caught up. You're in Chicago, Soldier Field, crowd's going crazy. I thought he was fine, though. Jorge, again, I don't think we've ever won a huge close game with Matt. Even with Rodgers, we always found a way to lose. I just have such a problem with tonight being that, like, it fell apart. Demise again. I can't wait for these idiots to move Gary, Indiana, so we can all call them the Gare Bears and their fans cry. I can't see that happening. I know it's been talked about this week. Dennis, even more convinced Dobbs will be gone after this season. He sucks, doesn't care, and just threw the game away. Unbelievable. He had a good game before that, though, guys. I mean, he had the unbelievable pick off the ground. He had the touchdown catch. He was your leading receiver, right? Musgrave had 38 yards. He was number 2 on the day, and Dobbs had 5 catches for 84 in the touchdown. I thought he was really good. He just had a ridiculous moment. Here we go. X Waffleicious. Are you done coping for us yet? Packers are dead. Stop running defense for us. No, I mean, I'll keep coping with that's what this show's about. It's about the coping. Jorge Martinez again. You always say the Packers are a blue sky franchise, but the last 15 years have been miserable. I don't think any team has had a worse stretch. 15 years? Yeah. I mean, since the Super Bowl, yeah, you guys have had pretty tough. But you had the Super Bowl. To people saying Paul's a Viking fan, he should be laughing at us. You need to understand he's a Packer fan in disguise. I'm just trying to be an objective, man. This is what ultimately analysis in these shows are about here. And by the way, here's the thing. If I come out here laughing and making fun of Packers fans, I am an idiot. I am an idiot if I do that. There's a lot of Packers fans who listen. The last thing in the world they want to hear is getting mocked. I mean, that was a crushing loss. I actually kind of feel bad for them a little bit. But the Bears fans, look, I'm pumped up for them too. At least my friends who have never had a season like this. And I don't know what's going on with me, man. Once the Vikings are out, it makes it a little easier to kind of talk about all this. If the Vikings, like last year, when the Vikings were 14-3 and the Lions were having these, miraculous wins against the Houston, the big comeback, and Green Bay was surging. We played them like, oh God, yeah, that's one where I would probably come out had we lost and been a little more anti-Packer. But tonight, I mean, whatever. Cody, love you, Paul. Keep the great show going. You guys rock. Would you go on a date with Caleb Williams if he asked you? Not a romantic date, but I mean, like, if Caleb Williams just asked me to go out and grab a drink, I'd probably say, yeah, it'd be fun to talk to Caleb Williams. Demise, Brady has always been more critical of Jordan because of his footwork, and then Jordan shuts him up by making a throw Tom himself would say he couldn't make. I don't pay attention too much to Brady's critique of Love, but maybe I'll pay attention more next time. Dennis, if you CBA to keep your eyes on the ball when it goes right to your hands on onside kick, I don't care if you go for 205 touchdowns. He effed up and sucks. Yes, you can be frustrated with Romeo Doubs tonight. I would not slide into his DMs and stuff and say mean things to him. No one feels worse, I'm sure, than Doubs. But yeah, there's no sugarcoating. You can basically pin the loss on Romeo Doubs. Other things went wrong, but he dropped the onside kick. Demise, quick clip Paul calling himself an idiot. Okay, all right, let's chill out here. But yeah, I'm truly just shocked, guys, looking back on it. I'm trying to think of what I can say for the Bears, because our Bears fans should be really gassed up. What I thought Green Bay did a nice job of tonight, for the most part. I mean, I know Green Bay or the Bears averaged 5.8 a carry. I thought that the Green Bay defense for most of the day was pretty good. It kind of fell apart really just at the very end, the fourth quarter. I mean, it was 13-3 going into the fourth, and that's when Chicago had 10-play drive, 11-play drive, 8-play drive, 13 points in the fourth quarter. You have to wonder how gassed Green Bay got when they're on the field for 10 minutes of that quarter. And a lot of it is no huddle. It's hurry up. And you heard Brady saying, who gets gassed the most? You have your receivers on offense and your D-line on defense. You're already depleted at that position. You're already down your biggest guy, one of the best players in the league. And that's what made it so difficult, too, for them after the onside kick was those guys are exhausted out there. And I actually thought they were going to get the stop on 4th and 4. But then, the Green Bay offense is only on the field for a few minutes to start overtime, and they're back again. And it felt like once they went to overtime, Green Bay was screwed. And you lose the toss. It just unraveled in a way that you don't see it happen very often. That's why I was saying I kind of feel bad for the Green Bay fans here. Someone says this feels like the divisional game against San Fran. We dominate for 58 minutes and cough it up at the end. Don, Packers fans chill. Injured games are the best to watch because they're even at full strength. Yeah, that was one thing. It did feel like watching Green Bay throughout this game, it was like house money for them. And then all of a sudden, because once Jordan Love gets hurt, it's like, okay, can we really expect to win this? But then after the touchdown pass to Dobbs, I think every Packer fan sat back and went, okay, we are going to win this game. And damn, we actually might even be okay to let Jordan recover another week and beat Baltimore with Malik the way he's playing. And just to have the rug pulled out for me, that's where it's difficult. Demise again says, best part of watching this show over the seasons is you see Paul's growth as a fan, where he has gone from classic rival hater to someone who shows a ton of respect to his rivals and become less biased. I think that is the perfect comment about, yes, that is true. I have absolutely, over the course of this show, become more respectful of all the NFC North teams. I was never the fan that came out and just talk shit all the time. Honestly, because I couldn't really talk shit as a Viking fan. Like, what am I gonna do? But even when a lot of it was I was just scared if I talk shit, it was gonna bounce back in my face, knowing our luck. And usually that would happen whenever I did. But no, I mean, like all these, these are three. The Bears, Lions, and Packers are three historic franchises. All of them are really good right now, and it's fun watching them with a little bit more of an analytical eye, where I'm actually taking notes during games and. It's fun doing that. But man, I mean, I can't Can't believe it happened. And the Bears fans in the chat, I'm seeing a few of them right now are saying like, well, what are you gonna do about it now? Yeah, you can be very excited. Like this is, well, good sportsmanship is cringe. Showing respect to rivals is cringe. If I wasn't hosting a show, then I would probably be a little more willing to talk trash. I could say that. Demise, unlike your buddies, Nick and Danny. Yeah, that's why if we ever had a Packer fan on this, it might be turn into a little bit more of a trash talking show. Okay, so let me just see here if there's any point I want to hit. Oh, yeah, okay. There were a couple. Actually, I didn't change the notes before the onside kick. So right now under Bears, I have, how do you blow this? A lot, like everyone's hurt for Green Bay. That's what I was going to come out and say when we got to Chicago. Like, how can you blow this game at home? Green Bay's playing with essentially a backup roster. I know not totally, but this was the opportunity. And it's just nuts. One thing you also saw from Halfley that I feel like we should talk about, the pass rush. Brady mentioned it, but it was very quick. The Packers through 14 weeks were blitzing people 22% of the time. A little more of the nerdy stuff, I guess, now. Tonight it was closer to 50% blitz. You're probably going to see that again over the coming weeks as they try and make up. Again, Parsons, I think, had 64 pressures coming into this week, and Gary was second with 28. So you're going to see them try and make up for it. And I thought they were effective a number of times tonight, even though they didn't have the sacks. Remember that big 3rd and 9 when right before Chicago kicked the field goal to make it a 7-point game? They send the house, and Caleb throws it away, gets the intentional grounding. That was a play that I thought, okay, that might have actually won it for Green Bay. And we'll probably see a lot more of that over the next few weeks. Look at this, yeah. Caleb Houdini Williams, touchdown, bear down. Yeah, congratulations to Weston Dell. Our good buddy Weston Dell, huge Bears fan. Wes texted me a few times during this game and said, this is miserable. Like, this is torturous. And I think for Bears fans, it was. I have to imagine Bears fans in the comment section, let me know. Throughout the first 3 quarters of that game, that must have been like hell on earth. The Packers' backup quarterback is in without Micah Parsons, and they're just dog walking you in a game where you feel like you're going to be the number 2 seed. And then all of a sudden, I guess God smiled on the Chicago Bears tonight. Like, it was a Christmas miracle for Chicago. Maybe I don't know if this is worth all the torture, but we'll see what happens when we get to playoff time. K. Kuhn, Packers practice squad does look like the best in the league right now. Yeah, you got to give that to Green Bay. If you lined up the second stringers, the Packers would probably take everyone to town. It is impressive. Seriously, that is something that is extremely impressive with Green Bay. Malik looked great tonight. There are not a lot of teams that can come out with the injuries they have, and the Bears are really good. Like, I know people want to shit on them, and I get that in power rankings when we put them at 7, like everyone says that's too high. Oh, they're playing the Packers backups. Bears have won 11 football games this year. Hasn't been pretty, but the only thing that matters is winning. I don't care if you have to block a field goal. I don't care if you win by 30 points. I don't care what happens. You win the game, you win the game. Winning is hard. And Chicago's done a lot of it this year. Patriots have done a lot of it this year. Denver's done a lot of it this year. Unconventional ways. The Chiefs got to the Super Bowl in unconventional ways last year. All it takes to win a Super Bowl is 1 year where you find ways to win, no matter what it looks like. And you have to give Chicago credit where credit's due because they've done that. And beyond just getting lucky, quote unquote, lucky at times, they're second in the league in rushing. Caleb makes a lot of big time plays. He doesn't get sacked. That defense has forced more turnovers than anyone in the league. They have the number 1 turnover differential in football. Josh Jacobs fumbling there. That's something Nashawn Wright's been unbelievable coming over. I feel like every week we're talking about Nashawn Wright, who is, a Viking, of course, who has now turned into a really good cornerback this year and a difference maker. Chicago's a good team. And the Packers backups beat them up until they didn't. And that's just the way football works. JJB says, this was 100% on Matt LaFleur play calls in the red zone. He will always find new ways to mess up in the biggest moments. Okay, that's actually something, yes, that's something we should have talked about, or I should have talked about earlier. When they had, what drive was it? I think it was the first Malik field goal drive when they got down to the 5-yard line. I texted Andy about this too. And Malik threw the fade to Dobbs, or the back shoulder to Dobbs. Then they ran it for like a yard, and then Malik threw an incomplete pass that would have been picked off if it was accurate. That was one spot where inside the 5, I'm like, you got to run that ball 3 straight times. I mean, get creative, have Malik with the keeper. I think Andy said it was an option for Malik to keep it, but just tell him, keep this ball running. I do agree. There was some play calling inside the red zone tonight with LaFleur where I was just like, man, keep it a little simpler than that. Or especially after seeing it against Detroit, where they had, I mean, they knew exactly what Detroit was going to do on Thanksgiving Day with the out routes. And I think they had, who did they have? Wicks run out, right? I mean, they were great there. And tonight it didn't feel like that. Is there another super chat? Yeah. The official white man says, Dobbs, Nixon, and Bisaccia are all getting explosive devices under their trees this year, Paul. Anyways, the Bears still suck. Go, Pack, go. Yeah, I get it. I get you're upset. It's totally makes sense. Cole here says, yeah, the Packers can miss the playoffs right now. That's just, they still feel like a playoff team. I think they're going to beat Baltimore at home. I mean, that Baltimore game now, it's your season. If you lose to Baltimore, you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, you still can have a world where you get in if you lose that one. If you win, you feel pretty good because unfortunately, I think you'll beat the Vikings the last week of the season. But yeah, Washington, that is a crazy comment. My gosh. All right. Probably going to wrap it up there. Hope everybody, good luck getting over that. That was just brutal for the Packers fans and Chicago fans who are in here. Congratulations. I mean, you're probably going to be the 2 seed. Like, I don't know how you did it, but you did. I'd love to be able to come out here and be like, man, Chicago, Caleb was throwing the ball all over the place. Rushing attack once again, unstoppable. The rushing attack was fine, but defense, shut them down. It's just not what happened. It's just not what happened today. But when you needed it most, you delivered. And that's what you've been doing all season. Takes a lot of heart. So congrats again to the Bears fans. Just a unfathomable win and a truly heartbreaking loss for Green Bay. We'll be back. I'm not sure if we'll be back tomorrow yet because we got a bunch of guys traveling. Emerson Dell, member for 2 months. This was the best win I've seen from the Bears since our last playoff run, and it feels great, Paul. Weston Dell's brother. Emerson, congrats on getting into Notre Dame, by the way. That's really cool. Always good to have another member. Yeah, I can't imagine what Chicago's like tonight. Have fun, guys, and see you soon. Jeez, that's...